Hello everyone, welcome to Gizmochina. I'm Kieran. In the last video we reviewed the cheapest model of the Realme 6 series, the Realme 6i. Today we're going to do a comparison between the other models of the series, the Realme 6 and 6 Pro. Generally a Pro model which is more expensive than the standard version should also have some significant upgrades. But this time between the Realme 6 and 6 Pro, their primary performance is quite close to each other, other though they're equipping different CPUs. So in this video, we will compare these two models and give you some advice on how to get your money's worth. Well, as we unboxed these two models, they both have a very standard Realme design. We tried to check out what suggestions could we give from their appearance, but eventually we gave up because they look almost the same to each other. To distinguish the Realme 6 Pro from the 6 model, the Pro's rear pattern was turned into a flash of lightning, which is supposed to tell customers that the 6 Pro has higher performance and faster responses. But is it true? We'll tell you later. Realme is one of the few smartphone brands that has provided a high refresh rate display, not just for their flagships, but also mid-range models. Both the 6 and the 6 Pro equipped a 1080p 90Hz LCD display, which really improved users' experience and distinguished them from the other mid-rangers. In daily use, it did have a better system fluency, which used to only be in flagship models. At the same time, such high fluency was also closely related to the powerful SoC they used. The Realme 6 equipped the latest MTK Helio G90T, which was a mid-range SoC targeting at gaming performance, while the 6 Pro run the Snapdragon 720G, almost one of the most powerful mid-rangers. In my memory, the performance of these two chips were exactly close to each other, but we'll check it later. Before that, let's do a simple test on their open app speed. To compare performance on the Helio G90T and Snapdragon 720G, we run several benchmark apps on these two models. In Geekbench 5, the Realme 6 Pro's 720G took a 50-point lead in the race of single-core test, but got a very close multi-core result in the Helio G90T. But both of their results ranked ahead of other mid-rangers. Turn back to the Geekbench 4, the single-core test results were quite consistent, as we saw in the Geekbench 5. The 720G of 6 Pro still took the lead, but the multi-core performance of G90T was much better than 720G, which was pretty strange. Then we went to the Antutu benchmark. The CPU results were almost the same as the results for Geekbench 5. The 720G of Realme 6 Pro had better performance overall, but things turned out to be a bit different in GPU performance. The Helio G90T of Realme 6 surprisingly scored higher than the Pro version. According to the results, the 6 Pro is likely to have better performance in dealing with single tasks, but no obvious difference in run multitask work. The last one we run is the Andro Bench app, which was designed for storage test. Well, we can see that the Pro model was not so pro here. The Realme 6 took the lead in almost all of the read and write tests, no matter the random of sequence speed. Besides running benchmark apps, we compared their gaming performance through frame monitoring. The Realme 6 and 6 Pro's performance were pretty close to each other, as they got the same 90Hz display and the same storage setups. As their GPUs and CPUs contributed to the similar results in a benchmark, we are not surprised at the data. Well, sorry to tell you that the PUBG Mobile did not support the 90Hz refresh rate on both models. We were not sure whether the game would open the 90Hz supports in the near future, but right now if you are a PUBG gamer, it's really hard to take such a waste of their performance. They both run the game with great fluency and stably maintained a 90Hz refresh rate under the default graphics settings. But if you have to pick up better performance, we would be more inclined to the Realme 6 Pro, as its frame rate was less fluctuated. Then we moved to the stress test in Namian Legend, and we eventually saw the gap between them. Under the highest graphics settings, the 6 Pro can averagely run at around 17 FPS, while the Realme 6 only made it at 10 FPS. Although both models had a 4 rear camera combination, the 6 Pro did offer one more 12 megapixel telephoto camera, but under general scenarios, their working hardware was not really different. However, after we compared the samples, the final image still got obvious differences. For example, this group, the sample of the Realme 6 Pro, had a better color production and brighter exposure with a faster shutter speed. On the other hand, the Realme 6 was more likely to present a higher contrast. For example, the low-angle sample of the Realme 6 had richer contrast detail of those far buildings. But after we saw more samples, generally the Realme 6 Pro samples were able to deliver better colors and catch our eyes. In wide-angled samples, both the modules got their tiny problems. The Realme 6 did a better job of removing the fringing in the samples, but still had the same exposure problem as the primary camera did. In portrait mode, they were able to apply a bokeh effect outside the simple edge subjects. The main difference still occurred in the brightness. In 64 megapixel high resolution mode, the Realme 6 Pro produced better detail and more correct colors. Another strength of the Realme 6 Pro was the telephoto camera. Using a single zooming camera was no doubt to catch more detail in the distance. Then we waited for nightfall. From the night modes, it both did a great job in brightness improvement and exposure balance. Anyway, in general, the 6 Pro could definitely produce better colors in most shooting modes, which may also relate to its better hardware setups and the Snapdragon CPU. But it didn't mean that the Realme 6 was far behind the 6 Pro. Sometimes higher contrast plus a good control of fringing could bring you a better image atmosphere. In addition, the Realme 6 Pro has dual front cameras, including a wide angle one, which did enhance its camera experience for those who like to take group selfies. So that's what we think is important to compare between these two brother models. It's no doubt that both of them are excellent cost-effective mid-rangers. The only tiny differences were there to ask you whether they matter. If you value those small differences, it should be a better choice to pay a bit more on the Realme 6 Pro. How do you think about the brand Realme? Please leave your comment below, and don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to our channel. We are planning for a gaming phone comparison. You can also tell us what games you're playing. That would be very helpful for us to choose the right games. This is Kieran from Gizmochina. We'll see you later.